Hi friends, I have a story to tell you today. I bought the holy grail of camper van electrical kits. It's the Explorer van camper electrical kit, whatever it's called, from Explorist.life. And I'm not calling them out to say that they did anything wrong. They're great. Everything came boxed and ready to go. I watched their video over and over again. I watched Lauren Lawless's video over and over again. I bought all the tools. I was ready to go. I even got help, but what I didn't get was power. Two months ago, I was full of hope and YouTube fueled confidence. I was ready to go. My brother-in-law came over, mounted everything on the wall for me, and then I stared at it for 2 weeks. Just mounted there, looking beautiful and intimidating. My brain short-circuited before the system ever could. Enter my solar-savvy friend who flew in like a wiring wizard to untangle all of the chaos and help me get it all put together. Most of the first morning we worked at condensing the setup because my brother-in-law, although he is wonderful for coming over to help me, he's not done a solar system before, so he had everything laid out, sprawled out, and it would have worked great. The only problem is I needed to have room to put a closet in between my couch and where the electrical components are. So we moved everything in. The kit instructions that came were for 4 Battle-Born batteries, which I don't have. I have a Beast, the Vanlife 460 amp hour. And so we needed to just skip this step altogether. The next step, well, first step for us, since we didn't have all those batteries to wire, was to wire the battery to the Lynx distributor and also the Blue Sea fuse box and the master disconnect and the battery monitor. Not too bad, right? Easy as cake. Easy as pie? Easy as pie. But this 4-aught wire is a monster. There was no way I was gonna do that solo. I programmed the battery monitor. That was the easiest part of the weekend. No problem. The next step was to wire the Multiplus 2, which I have, you can see in the background. That was really 3 wires, 4 wires. So again, couldn't have done that by myself. And the VE bus dongle. The next step was grounding the battery and the system to the chassis. Oh wait, the 4-aught wire. Here we go again. That thing has the flexibility of a steel pipe. But other than that, no problem. Check, check, check. The next step was the AC distribution panel wiring. Finally, smaller gauge wire that I could actually bend. It really felt like a win. After 12 hours of working, including our lunch breaks and breaks, just throwing things and swearing on my part, of course. We called it day 1 done. We made a list and we were headed to Lowe's the next morning to pick up things to wire our DC distribution panel. The next step was wiring the shore power. And that made me a little nervous because this is the first time I had to drill a hole, like a literal 2 7/8 inch hole into the side of my van. And, well, van fails as they go. We had to rewire it 3 times because we put the ferrules on the wrong end. But after all that trouble, we got it done. With all of our supplies in hand, DC fuses, screws, things that we needed from Lowe's, we wired the DC distribution box. That was a good start to our day too. The next step was to wire the solar panels and mount those on the roof. I have a Flatline Vanco roof rack that I bought. I was excited until I rewatched Lauren Lawless's video, and I don't have any brackets either from Flatline or Rich Solar. So that went on hold. We decided to skip the alternator wiring for now. Those are some big thick wires to run from the back to the front, and I've got a little tiny space to run them through, so that's going to take some thought. We skipped it. But the next step was the Servo GX again, some trial and error, but we got it done. So here's the moment of truth. We have the battery all hooked up. We ran a small 6-way just to give some power and to test the system. We ran it to the AC distribution box and plugged in the multimeter to test the settings, and there was a short somewhere. Wah, wah, wah. 2 days of wiring, 2 days of hard work, all for nothing. Now, this could just be that the readings are off because of the transformer and it's throwing everything off. It could be something else that we hadn't considered, but we had taken everything apart and tested and retested and tested and retested 3 times, if not more. So I don't know if I'll be able to have power soon, but I hope so. You know, van life is supposed to be about freedom, but right now my beginning of van life is about failure, and I wanted to show that part too. This is what it looks like when things don't go as planned. So if you've been here, you're not alone. And if you haven't, just wait.